The following podcast is proudly sponsored by Crosswinds Golf and Country Club in Burlington. For 12 consecutive years, they've been voted Burlington's #1 golf club, and it's obvious to see why. The course is always in excellent condition, unlike some courses we know around this time of the year. The views are spectacular, especially in the fall. And you know what? Crosswinds is ready to talk to you now about weddings and banquets and tournaments in 2022 and 2023, because the facilities are going to be fully open soon. And Crosswinds facilities are second to none. So why shouldn't you experience their outstanding customer service? It's not just a golf course. Go to crosswindsgolf.com, book your tee time now, and don't forget to tell them that Hebsy sent you. Now, Mike, let's start the podcast. Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports, episode number 254. We're using bubblegum and chicken wire for today's show. I won't even explain what's going on. If you're an expert at all on, and if you're watching us live or listening live on YouTube, please get in touch. I've got an HP Intel Core 15, blah 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 laptop, and when I plug the headphone jack into it, it doesn't mute anything. It still comes through the speaker on the laptop. And I've tried various devices that have this that fit right in, and it's not working. And normally that's how, I mute Mike so he doesn't come back through here and we get feedback and all that stuff. So we figured something out, but I don't know how long the battery in my Bluetooth headphones are going to work. So we got to get to the show. So here's the deal. All right. I'm Mark Hebsher. That's Toronto Mike. We got a ton of things to get to. Leafs, their quest to avoid another playoff disappointment. What if the Leafs don't make the playoffs this year? What if that happens? One thing for sure, they've got to start better. A lot of concerns about this team, a lot of them. Another big name in sports media retires or is forced out. We're not sure. We'll find out. Canadian soccer fans still basking in the glow of Fonzie's goal and Canada's pummeling of Panama. Are you a fan of The Sopranos? If so, I got some great trivia that I found out the other day. Did you see Wayne Gretzky on TNT? What did you think? Do you like the way Sportsnet has rearranged their hosts and panelists on the hockey games, the couple games you've seen so far? Should the Blue Jays be interested in a manager whose team won 17 games in a row in September? Or should they stand pat with Charlie Montoyo? He's a nice guy. We got the championship series matchups in baseball as the Dodgers catch a break from the umpires. Lots and lots of sports media talk. First, let's say hi to Toronto Mike.
Hebsy, audio note. I have a question. So obviously we moved you to the phone, and that's why you don't sound very good. Normally you sound fantastic. But I'm curious, why is that phone sounding so tinny? Are you using the speakerphone, or are you actually using your Bluetooth earpiece?
Well, I'm hearing you through my Bluetooth.
I don't think that. Obviously. I do not believe the microphone on your phone that we're hearing you from is that ear set. I think it's like using your speakerphone or something. Like, is there any way you could just quickly look and see what microphone is being used by your phone?
How do I find that out, Mike? What do I do on my iPhone?
Oh, I don't know.
How do I do that? The speaker. Like, is this better if I talk like this?
No, but where is the phone? Let me see it. Hold it up for me. Where is your phone?
Right here.
Okay, there it is. Hello, phone.
My phone.
Okay,
Here, I'll take it out of the case for you if you want, eh? I'll undress it for you.
What kind of a headset is this that you're using?
It's a titanium by Aftershock Bluetooth headset.
Okay, because I'm used to, I hear people using their Apple, and it sounds much better than this. You know what? I think for this episode, people have to realize it's going to sound like Hebsy's on the phone, but you could totally make out every word you're saying. So we're going to rock and roll.
Wait. Yeah. The other way, Mike, is we can go back to using the speaker and everything. It's just we might get some feedback off the speaker because my damn doesn't work. How does that, folks? Yeah. Tell me about that. Has that ever happened to you before? You go plug the headphone in, but it doesn't mute the speaker at all. In effect, doesn't work. Then you try another device, totally different jack, in the same, speaker hole there, right? Whatever, and still. So that's what we're dealing with today.
But Hebsy, you're skipping the issue we had, because we would totally do that. But remember, you were unable to enable your microphone in Zoom on your laptop. I know this is a lot of behind the scenes tech talk for the listeners, but you were unable to enable that. That's why we moved it to the phone. So I think this is going to have to work for the next hour, and then we got to get it right for next week.
It's not going to be an hour of this nonsense, right?
So I want to apologize, though. Apologize to the people who are making their debut today. Like, there are some people in your live stream that are going to tune in for their very first Hebsy on Sports. I just want them to know it normally sounds much better than this. That's all I want to say. Take it away, Hebsy man.
Man, you're really asking me to be a professional here today, Mike. First of all, this microphone, it doesn't work, right? I'm not
you're not,
this microphone,
you're
so
not using that.
Throw this damn thing away, right? Is that right?
Throw it aside, but don't throw it away. You'll need it next week.
Right. It's these speakers. It's in here somewhere. Does this sound better?
No, I just think your headset sucks is what I think is happening here.
Well, it works great for me. I never had any problems with it, but obviously I've never tried to go live.
And now you're too far from that mic. So wherever the mic is on that thing, you got to get it closer to your mouth.
This mic?
No, the one you're wearing.
The one I'm wearing.
Yeah, like
this one here?
Yeah, where is the mic on that thing?
I have no idea.
Can you visibly see it?
The microphone is up here. I speak into it and I hear people hear me on the phone.
Oh, stop. Right there.
I didn't know.
Because you sounded okay that last bit better than... You got to find out where that mic is and keep it close to the mouth, and then we're going to rock and roll here.
Oh, my God. This goes in the ears. Where the heck's the microphone? What are you talking about? This is how I wear it. You see? Look.
All right. Well,
unbelievable. I feel like this isn't going to work today, Mike.
Well, no, keep going now.
I feel as if the show's not going to work today. It's not going to work.
I hear you loud and clear.
The technical problems. We're going to have to fix the technical problems, or you're going to have to carry the show.
I could always do that, of course. I could talk to the Rod Black thing for sure. But you're fine. Keep going, because I think they'd rather hear bad Hebsy than good Mike.
Yeah, well, this is just wrong, and I'm really upset with this because this doesn't normally happen, obviously. And I don't understand how you can plug in the headphone jack and it doesn't mute the audio. So that's the thing that's on mine, because that's simple stuff. I don't need, an MIT expert. It's like you plug in through there, you hear through here instead of through there.
Right.
So I've got the unwired, I've got the wired, I've got the Bluetooth. Obviously, the speaker's not good enough on the Bluetooth. All right. Where was I? All right. Well, The Sopranos. So I'm listening on these Bluetooth speakers, as a matter of fact, the other day to Talking Sopranos, which is a fantastic podcast that does deep dives into every single episode that they've done. And I'm now rewatching The Sopranos because I want to see the new movie. I'm rewatching with my girlfriend who's never seen it before. So I'm listening yesterday, and during the course of the interview that they're doing with one of the producers of the show, actually it was the casting director. And she says, oh yeah, the part of Hesh was Jerry Stiller.
Wow.
We auditioned Jerry Stiller. Jerry Stiller was going to be Hesh. Jerry Stiller had signed on to be Hesh. We're starting Monday. We're going to record the pilot, blah, 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 blah. And we got a call Friday saying that Jerry Stiller took a commercial. He's taking a commercial gig. He's going to be shooting because I guess he didn't think much of the Sopranos plot or whatever. Maybe it wasn't very much money, but whatever the deal was, Jerry Stiller backed out like on a Friday. So she's telling the story. I think it's Walken and Jaffe were the two ladies who were the casting directors. So they dealt directly with David Chase, who was the producer. And they're like, oh, my God, Jerry Stiller just dropped out. Who's going to play Hesh? So it's the weekend. They're making phone calls, and they make a call to Jerry Adler's daughter, who is a top agent. And they say, look, where's your father? We need to get in touch with him. It's like a Saturday or a Sunday. And he's up in the Hamptons or something like that. Anyway, they get in touch with him. They say, look, here's what happened. Stiller dropped out. You're Hesh. Report Monday morning. And of course, that's what happened.
That's a wild.
Jerry Adler became Hesh with like 1 day's notice, and Jerry Stiller did a commercial, whatever it was.
So this is before King of Queens, right?
Oh, that's a good question. King of Queens. Okay, so this is 97 when they shot the pilot. When was King of Queens? It was after that for sure.
I'll Google it right now, but I think it was after that. But interesting fit to
you. Yeah, interesting, eh?
Well, you know what? King of Queens started in 1998, so maybe that's what he went and did instead of Sopranos.
No. He did a commercial, and I mean, I guess after that, perhaps he got that gig, or he'd already had that gig. I don't know how many episodes he signed on to be Hesh for. Maybe it was just for the pilot, because in the pilot they change a few people in the pilot to the regular series.
Wild.
Anyway, that's my Sopranos trivia. And by the way, and I have to say, besides your podcast, Mike, Toronto Mike, talking Sopranos is addictive. It's just fantastic. Anyway, there you go. By the way, do you know who the greatest Jewish athlete of all time was? I know you're not Jewish, but that doesn't mean that you know these things.
Hank Greenberg.
He would be right up there for sure. He'd be right up there with, the likes of Sandy Koufax, Bobby Rosenfeld. But in fact, I reveal who the greatest Jewish athlete is in this week's edition, or the new edition, online edition of the Canadian Jewish News. Woo. It's thecjn.ca, thecjn.ca, for my article on the greatest Jewish athlete of our time. It's the first of a 4-part series. Why write a book when you can do a 4-part series? And you know the editor. You're on a last name basis with the editor, so that's good.
Well, he's going to be upset if you don't name check him.
Yeah. Well, Mark Weisblot, our friend, your friend too, 1236, right?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's never heard of you either. All right. Mike, there's no doubt that the Toronto Maple Leafs are better than the Ottawa Senators. Am I right? Am I right with that?
Yes.
They're more talented. They're more experienced. They're certainly more highly paid. But if the Leafs were playing a back-to-back, or when the Leafs played a back-to-back, and Ottawa had just signed Brady Tkachuk to a 7-year, $56 million deal, the stars weren't aligning for the Leafs, is what I want to say. It just, second game of a back-to-back, you're starting Peter Mrazek, who didn't have a great start, and then Brady Tkachuk, and this black cloud, it had been all over Ottawa for weeks and weeks. He hadn't signed, the cornerstone to the team, and he signs that day, the day of your home opener, and the Leafs are coming to town. And then he shows up in the first period and he waves to the crowd in Ottawa like he was the Pope or a member of the royal family. And then the vibe in the building changes for the better. And before you knew it, the Sens had scored 1, 2, 3 times. The last goal of which crossed the line with less than 1 second to go in the period. Yikes.
Wow.
And it all started with that lunkhead Pierre Engvall. The other night against Montreal, he ices the puck with 12 seconds to go and the Leafs clinging to a 1-goal lead. Ices the puck? Who does that? Last night he makes a terrible Galchenyuk-like. What is it? Galchenyuk-like
right.
Pass.
Right.
Terrible pass in his own zone that leads to Ottawa's first goal. And by the way, have you noticed how many people put down, with a giveaway, terrible giveaway? Folks, a giveaway is a giveaway. There's no such thing as a good giveaway and a horrible giveaway. It's a giveaway. So just say terrible pass or giveaway or turnover. But it doesn't have to be a terrible turnover. An egregious turnover. It's a turnover, all right? Department of Redundancy Department. Anyway, 3-0 after one period. Does Mrazek get pulled? No, because Campbell played the night before. He's tired. And then the Leafs come back in the second, and they improve, right? But thanks to Mrazek, who was Mrazaculous or whatever, he stops all 14 Ottawa shots. And then at the end of the period, he tweaks his groin. Now, last year, early in the season, Jack Campbell tweaked something and was out for weeks. And now the first game of the season for Peter Mrazek, he tweaks his groin. That's not something you come back from quickly. So now we got goaltending problems again. And now you got to bring in Jack Campbell for the third period. And on the bench is the Zamboni driver in Ottawa, I think, is the backup. I don't know. They never showed. And then the Leafs come back. Spets on the power play, and then Spetzer to Nylander. And in the 9th minute of the third period, the Leafs have come back from 3-0. It's 3-2, and now they're going to win. They're going to win. They're pumping shots at Anton Forsberg, but Forsberg is a force. Stopping 23 of 25 in the third. 46 of 48 overall. Sens win 3-2. Sens win. Now, folks, if you're taking 48 shots on goal every night, you've got to come away with more wins than losses over the course of the season, right?
Right.
You got to. So kudos to Forsberg for stealing 2 points for the Senators. Now, Mike, it's too early to tell if this Leafs team is made for the playoffs, especially with Matthews still sidelined with a wrist injury, scheduled to make his debut Monday at home against the Rangers. Coming up, the Leafs get Ottawa tomorrow night for the rematch, the Battle of Ontario. I never liked the way that sounded. It just sounds forced. The Battle of Ontario. It's a provincial rivalry. These two teams, 6 hours apart by car, an hour by plane. They're not. It's not a rivalry. It's not. Stop it. Battle of Ontario. La guerre d'Ontario. Stop it. Hey, did you hear the story of Tyler Bertuzzi? Remember we talked about Tyler Bertuzzi, unvaxxed of the Detroit Red Wings?
Right.
Not allowed to come to Canada, of course, because he's got to be vaccinated. Well, you don't have to be vaccinated, fully vaxxed, I guess, to go into the Joe Louis Arena or the Little Caesars Arena, because he did and he does, and he scored 4 goals last night for the Red Wings. 4 goals, most goals by an unvaxxed player in NHL history. And they still lost to the Lightning 7-6 in overtime. Detroit was leading 3-0, 4-1, and 6-3 in the third. First time in NHL history that a player has scored 4 goals against the defending Stanley Cup champions in the opening game of the following season. Did you know that, Mike? Never before have the defending Stanley Cup champions in their opening game allowed 4 goals to a single player until last night.
That's mind-blowing.
It's not. It's just one of those ridiculous little things I had to throw in there because it's true. Because somebody looked it up. Somebody went back and looked it up. It said, Bill, Mary, find out if in the history of the National Hockey League, the defending Cup champion has 4 goals scored against him by a single player. It's not hard to do. The NHL has only had so many seasons. There's only been so many defending champions, and they've all had 1 game coming the first game back. Not tough. So they figured it out. Is the audio any better?
Well, what amuses me mildly is that William Shatner sounded clearer when he was in outer space than you do from Little Italy. So you're completely legible, but it's like listening to somebody talking on their phone, like a speakerphone or whatever. So it's not going to be up to our typical standards, and listeners know that. But this is episode 200 and whatever. I think you can be forgiven that we had an emergency situation today, and we'll fix it for next week. But yeah, I think you can proceed. Like I can hear what you're saying. It sounds like you're on some crappy phone.
Oh, it's episode 200 and something from the guy that's coming up on 1,000 episodes. Oh, it's only episode. Well, how about this?
Well, I didn't say it like that. I meant the opposite. You've done lots of episodes.
I know.
Okay.
Stop it, all right? Just stop it. Listen, folks, here's the deal, okay? You can pretend this. I'm up somewhere where we get no cell phone, and we just managed to get it now. And I'm standing perfectly still, okay, across the Lake of the Loon in order for this signal to be... No, but you can see me anyway.
It's not bad enough that Gerstein will tune out, so that's all you need to know. He's still listening. It's not up to your normal standards, but it's not so shitty he's bailing.
All right, so pretend this. Just pretend that this is one single phone call. Hello, Mark, you're on the air. All right, I'm a caller. Hi, it's Mark calling from Little Italy. Listen. By the way, did you know that last night's win by Tampa in overtime against Detroit and the unvaxxed 4-goal scoring Tyler Bertuzzi, it was the first time in 141 games that Tampa had come back to win after trailing by 3 goals in the third period. Did you know that?
Another mind blow.
There you go. Have you watched, I know there's only been a couple of nights, have you watched any of the pregame shows, the postgame shows, the intermission panel shows? What do you think?
A little bit of the intermission panel show with Carolyn Cameron. It seems like she got a big promotion on, what was that, Wednesday night? It's all a blur to me now, but what a week it's been. But I'm actually dying to know what you think of the new studio and the new setup. What do you think of this Rogers changes?
I don't like it because I'm used to seeing people in boxes, and Kevin Bieksa is saying what's on his mind. He can say what's on his mind with impunity. Wow. He can take shots at people. He can make, funny comments. But now that you're sitting in the same room and you're looking at a girl-boy lineup, female-male lineup, okay?
Yep.
It appears very awkward because in the past, Bieksa would be sitting at home. But now he's sitting like 6 inches from Frege on like there's Cassie next to, he's at the end. So there's Cassie next to him, and there's Frege in between them, and then there's Caroline Cameron. So it feels awkward because you can't take the same shots at people that you were taking when you were sitting in your own little studio at home when they're right there. Am I right?
No, that's a great point. Yeah, you got more courage when you don't have to look them in the eyes in the same room. Absolutely.
And I didn't like the way him and Elliot started kind of trying to one-up each other, sniping each other with, oh, well, if I was Elliot Friedman, I don't like that kind of thing. And I don't personally like those. I don't think they know each other well enough, or the audience is comfortable enough for these guys to be doing a Shaq, Charles Barkley shtick, or a Kenny, the Jet, and Shaq shtick, which they've been doing on that show for years on Inside the NBA. these guys they're not that friendly that they should be chirping each other. And Anthony Stewart does that sometimes too. They get into this chirping thing. I don't want to hear that stuff, man. It's too clubby for me. But they're trying to one-up each other, and you got Cassie Campbell sitting right between them. And she even sort of said a couple of times, alluded to the fact that I'm in the middle of this, kind of not a college boy sophomoric thing, but just sort of can we stick to the script? The only thing is there's no script. There's no script at all. Mike, nothing. They're sort of like, okay, well, here's Kevin Bieksa, here's Elliot Friedman, here's Cassie Campbell-Pascal, here we go. But the thing is that this is Caroline's first time with them and their first time all together in a studio. And then the next night you got somebody else. I mean, I know on Sportsnet we've got Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson. I like the consistency. But when I turn on the Leaf game, I don't know if it's Ron McLean or David Amber or Caroline Cameron now anchoring. Is it Jennifer Botterill, Elliot Friedman on tonight? Is CJ on? No, he's gone. He's on TSN now. Right. Is it Frank Saravelli on tonight? Is Chris Simpson on this week? Is she doing a feature interview this week? Have we got Kelly, Cassie, Kerry, Kevin, Colby, Stewie? Now we got this guy, Futah. So many analysts. Every night, I don't know who it's going to be, who is combining. Okay, let's go. You try with you. It's like flipping line combinations. We're going to try this guy with these guys, with this girl with these girls. At TSN, I know this. I got Duffy. I got Poulin. I got O-Dog. I got Dreger. I'm getting Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro. I'm getting the director of scouting, Craig Button. I know what I'm getting. Sportsnet, I have no idea. And by the way, the line of the night, uttered by Cassie Campbell, they come off the end of the game. Here's Caroline Cameron. Here's Cassie. There's Friedge. There's Bieksa. And let's go. Okay, what a game, or whatever she said. Cassie, what do you think? And Cassie says, I have no idea what we're talking about, but let's have some fun. And that sort of, it was like, okay, game's over. All right, let's throw it in the panel and hear what they have to say. And just so it was like, I don't know, man, it was awkward, but it was their first time.
Right.
So, I'll keep watching, of course. I'll keep watching.
And visually, yeah. Like I noticed the score bug looks different now, and there's just window dressing, right? But that studio, I guess it doesn't matter because they moved out of the CBC building downtown, and they've got their own Rogers studio now. But I guess
I'm used to seeing 4 boxes, Mike. 4 boxes, 4, right?
But you'll concur.
Together, they're going to have to get used to.
Right.
Right. And how are they seeing them? It's like, what is this, dinner? Boy, girl, boy. If you had Friedge sitting right next to Bieksa, would that not be better if one turned to the other and said, oh, yeah, so says you? And Friedman picks out, he's got a jersey with number 3 on it. And I can't think of the kid's name who made the team. And then he says, the greatest number 3 in Vancouver Canucks history. And that was Bieksa's number. So that's like a setup kind of a thing. And you're just sort of asking for it now, right? If you're going to pull that off, Bieksa's going to come back with some other, slight or one-up, and I just didn't like it.
And again, I'll reiterate what I told Ron McLean when he came over, and I would tell anybody, which is that I tune in for the game. I actually have never turned off a game because I didn't like who was calling it, or I didn't like, I might not watch the intermissions. I might go do something else, but I'm there for the game, and the game is the game, and it's the only game in town. So all the rest is just noise around it, but I'm there for what happens on the ice. Right.
Got it. Meanwhile, over on TNT, and now see, we can't watch the games, we can't watch the intermissions, but social media, just they're on Twitter. If you want to see what Gretzky did, just Twitter will have it 5 minutes after it happens on TNT, and you can watch the clip. So anyway, on Twitter, I'm watching a clip of Wayne Gretzky shooting pucks at Charles Barkley. Well, that's a good way to start. Gretzky's with Barkley, and he's firing pucks at him. He's looked pretty comfortable with a hockey stick in his hand, pretty much. It was good.
Right.
And then later, Gretzky's interviewing Alex Ovechkin, who's 170 goals away from him, but it's like, oh, it's the Gretzky watch. Ding, 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 2 more for Ovechkin. He's only 150. Dude, it's going to be 4 or 5 years. But anyway, it's fun. So when they're doing the interview here, here's Wayne, and he's on camera. He's in a box, and Ovi's in a box, and Wayne goes, hi, Ovi. Wayne here. It just was it's Wayne here. But it would have been great if Ovi went, Wayne who?
Wayne who? Hey, I got a comment on your YouTube channel about Wayne Gretzky. Eugene says, It's about Gretzky on TNT. Why was he dressed like someone's granddad going out for a night at the Canadian Legion? And
they made fun of him.
And who replaced his hair with that lump of black tar on his head?
Yeah, well, it's okay for other people to make fun of someone's appearance. And they made fun of Wayne on the show because he had like a vest on and it was hot in there and he's shooting pucks and he's like starting to sweat, that kind of thing. And here's another thing. I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you.
Yeah.
Gretzky can sweat. Some people don't sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Some people sweat profusely.
Right.
Gretzky's in the latter category. That's all I'm going to say.
And you would know. You would know. Because you did those intermissions with him.
Ruined a pair of pants. Ruined them. I never did ask him for the cleaning bill. Ruined them. He sweated all over them.
See, that's...
His nose is shaped a certain way that when he sweats, the sweat goes right to the edge of his nose. A little ball of sweat goes to the edge of his nose, and then it just doesn't fall off. And he's unaware of it. He was unaware of it, right? And I'd be sitting there interviewing him, and I'd say, "There's this ball of sweat, and I can't take him seriously until I get rid of that ball of sweat." But anyway, so that's Wayne.
We got to talk baseball before your Bluetooth headset conks out.
All right, let's talk some baseball. Then the Dodgers and Giants went to a deciding fifth game in San Francisco last night. Came down to the ninth inning. Yeah. Game tied 1-1 at Oracle Park. Mm-hmm. Dodger outfielder Cody Bellinger, the National League MVP a few years ago, was at the plate, runners first and second. Bellinger hit 165 this year. Folks, this guy was an MVP in 2019. 165, the lowest average of any player in the major league with 300-plus plate appearances.
Way below the Mendoza line. Way below the Mendoza line. Wow.
So what does he do? And he's a former MVP.
Wow.
So what does he do? Base hit to center field. Dodgers take the lead 2-1. And in the bottom of the ninth, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts says, "Hey, Scherzer, can you give me an inning?"
Right.
Scherzer? And Scherzer said, "Yeah, first time in his career and first career save." But he gets a lot of help from the umpires on a couple of calls, especially a ridiculous call third strike on a check swing to end the game. The guy takes a half of a swing. They ask for the appeal. The first base umpire punches him out.
Bullshit.
And they show the replay, and it wasn't even close.
No, bullshit.
But certainly not to end a ball game.
But doesn't that
replay showed that the batter, Wilmer Flores, did check his swing. But, Mike, the play is not reviewable. So it's time to get robot umpires or make every call reviewable. You can't have both. You've got to get it right. Ridiculous way to end a series, especially with two best teams in baseball.
Right.
Mike, the Dodgers have won 110 games. The Giants won 109. They went to the ninth inning of the fifth and deciding game, and it's decided by an umpire's terrible call. I mean, it's worse than Dan Kinger in the 85 World Series.
Right.
It's terrible.
Right.
Look it up.
Hebsy, man, I fell asleep in the seventh inning. I really wanted to watch that to the end, but I fell asleep. But when I woke up and then I heard about it on the radio, and then I went and found the footage. I didn't even have a horse in that race, and I was so pissed off that game ended that way. That just angers me as a fan of sport.
What if it happened to the Blue Jays?
Even if it happens for the Blue Jays, like, you don't want to win that way either.
Well, sure you do. Sure you do. I mean, because every time the ump screwed you, you finally got the other team to get screwed. Okay, so here we go. Tonight, championship series, Red Sox, Houston. I hate both teams. I hate them with a passion, both. I don't know which one I hate more.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I want to see. I don't want to watch the game. I want to see them fail, both of them. How does that work? Ugh.
Hebsy, I actually, my thoughts quickly, and then back to you, of course. But since I'm on the good mic, I'm thinking I have to root for Houston in this. That's how much I dislike the Red Sox. Like, this is one of those Sophie's Choice things. It's impossible. But I think I need Houston to go to and then get swept in the final by whoever wins the National League.
Dodgers, yeah. I'll take Houston and the Dodgers. The Dodgers play, they got to go to Atlanta tomorrow for the NLCS opener. So you win 110 games. You win 106 during the regular season, but you don't win your division. And now you got to start on the road. 7-game series. And they did start on the road in San Francisco. And they were favored to win the series, by the way. People thought that winning that wild card game against St. Louis just gave them the momentum. You know what? They could be right. So they go to Atlanta for game 1 tomorrow in the NLCS. I'm going to take Houston and the Dodgers in the Fall Classic. Meanwhile, the St. Louis Cardinals, a team that won 17 games in a row in September, pulling them into a wild card game when everything had been lost, fired their manager, Mike Shildt, yesterday. Now, if I were the Blue Jays, and I'm not, but if I were, I might make a call to Mr. Shilt's agent Hi, Mike. Do you think you could get this Blue Jay team to win 17 straight in September like you did with St. Louis, a team that has way, 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 way more talent? Do you think you could do that? Maybe get us into the playoffs? Yeah? All right, let's talk. Just saying. Just saying.
Well, you
17 wins. Thanks for coming out. Made it to the playoffs. Got beat in the ninth inning of a single wild card, single elimination game, and they fire you because of philosophical differences. Hey, I tell you what, if I'm the Jays, I might take on this guy's philosophy, whatever it is, getting a team to win 17 in a row in September. Pretty good.
But I think you'd let me manage the Jays at this point. But I will just say this before we move on to our friend Rod Black. I will say that Schilt happens.
Yes, very good. Not that good, actually. All right, so Rod Black makes an announcement yesterday, midway through the CFL season, 6 weeks or 7 weeks into the CFL season, just before the start of basketball season, that he's leaving TSN and Bell Media. What do you know about this, Mike?
So I actually know quite a bit because unlike the rest of the lame stream media, I just thought it'd be fun to say that, but I actually phoned, Rod phoned me when I was on my bike ride and we had a little chat off the record. And then I said, hey, can you say something that I can publish on the Toronto Mike feed? And he said, yeah, we arranged a call for later yesterday. And I recorded the call. So essentially, unedited, the complete call I had with Rod Black is the latest episode of Toronto Mike. And you can hear from Rod Black yesterday. But in a nutshell, this was not a sudden thing. Like, he didn't get the tap on the shoulder and say your last day is on, Thursday or whatever. It's been in the work for months, but he was very clear, without saying the exact words, it was very clear that this is the way the industry is going, and he got a good settlement that's made him happy, and he's ready to move on and do something else. But this sounds like something similar to who are the two guys, Jim Hewson and Michael Landsberg, who are essentially, you're making a lot of money and they're trying to get rid of these big salaries. Bell and Rogers are both trying to get rid of these big salaries.
Right. It's been a good run. Thanks for everything. You leave head held high and with money in your pocket.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, listen, Rod's a really nice guy, and I wish him well. But this is the way the industry's going, and I can't say it was a surprise. And not because of Rod,
right.
Just because of, look, if you're making a lot of dough, and you've been around for a long time, and you're an old white guy, you're not going to be in this business for much longer.
You could almost take the skin color out of it, because I feel like it's simply like you've been around for decades, you're making big money, and we want somebody to do this for half that cost.
Right.
Like, I mean, I guess it's because when you
being
throw
an old white guy makes it easier for people to say, does.
Okay.
It does. Okay. Rod's almost 60.
But if
I was almost 60 when it happened. What?
Because you hit this note quite often, actually, where you say, like, the straight white guys are the endangered species because we need to diversify, which is correct. You do need to diversify. But then there's all these examples everywhere of people who are not straight white guys who are getting the same pink slip. And a guy I'm thinking of just right now is that we just talked about Scott MacArthur being let go from probably making too much money on the morning show. And Scott's not a straight white guy. So it's not all about diversity.
No. We didn't say straight white guy. You said straight white guy.
I
said old white guy.
Okay. True. I said straight white guy. Right. Okay.
Anyway, all right. So let's not. That's neither here nor there. Let's talk about play-by-play guys not going on the road. Like Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph aren't going on the road, right? And see, this has a lot to do with it too. It's that you send somebody on the road, and you add that up to however many games your station is doing, how many people are going on the road, what the costs are, and we went over this on the last one. And with Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph not going on the road for any of the Leaf Road games this year, and by the way, I listened last night, you can't tell. They do a good job with the audio mix. I'm listening. Joe sounds like he's right there. He's there, and right? He's doing it off a monitor. And last year, Ben Wagner didn't do any games for a while, and then when he did, he didn't go on the road to do any games. And I fear that the same is going to be true for Eric Smith and Paul Jones.
Right.
Sort of like this is the way the industry's going. It's like if you wanted to be a play-by-play, I wanted to be a play-by-play guy growing up, but I didn't want to be, I want to be the guy. Please let me sit at home and describe the games from home. I wanted to be part of most of the thing of being a play-by-play guy is you're at the game. You're a witness to history. You're there to describe it for those who aren't there. And it's just, I don't know.
So Hebsy, just to hammer this point home, it's clear that in this sports media industry, in this country at least, which is mainly dominated by Bell and Rogers, it's basically big salaries put a huge target on your back, and they'll either let your contract run out, which is what happened with CJ, and it's happening all over the place, or they're gonna, negotiate your exit like they did with Landsberg and with right now with Rod Black. So everyone basically working in this industry who's got the big salaries, the old school big salaries, is basically planning, like they're talking to their financial advisors and just making sure, if I get the word tomorrow, am I going to be okay? Because they're not giving away these salaries anymore. And I said half the price, and then I was corrected in the YouTube channel. Somebody said it's more like a quarter or a third. And I believe that's true. Like somebody who was doing the gig for $700,000, now that same job is going to be done for $150,000, if that. So I think this is just simply the way this industry has decided to pivot.
Well, look, there's a lot of people that were making good money, and I don't know if they went to Rod and said, how much was Rod making, you think?
Well, because
$700,000 a year.
Well, he's making real money is the bottom line, like real money. Yeah.
And so if they said to him, "Look, Rod, we can't afford this. How about will you do it for half your salary?" I'm not saying they did or didn't, right. But geez, if you're in a situation like Rod, you're like, "Man, really? Like, can you do that? Can you just take me and sort of say, and is that put a person in a position where they're kind of forced to like leave? Because if they take way less money for the same job that they had, probably more work, what does that do? Anyway, we can speculate all we want, but it comes down to, if the people that are making the most money are the ones that have to be the most careful or be looking over their shoulders because of what we're looking at. There's no reporting on somebody making hardly any money, this young person who was inexperienced and they're gone now.
Well, actually, what about Brendan Dunlop?
What about him?
He's an example of a young guy. He could not have been commanding the real money salaries we're talking about, and he was also you report. I think you had the exclusive that he was. Yeah.
So, but you think he was what? I think he must have been making six figures.
See, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I mean, I don't know if that was a money thing or they just didn't have enough work for him or whatever the case. Remember, it happened during the pandemic too, where you're like, you can't tell how much work this person's doing. How often do you see that person on the station or that person? Or how did that person get a job? Or is that just a backup person? Are they producing it on the side? But anyway, if you're making good dough, you better be really, really good at your job and you better have a long-term contract.
Any prediction on who's next? Like, will we hear that Ron McLean is doing his last year?
God, no, I would never do that. Never. That's very macabre, I think. That's very, like you're the Grim Reaper.
No, I don't like
that character on the character on The Sopranos who's always talking about guys who get cancer and then die. Oh, yeah, so-and-so, he got cancer, he died. Like, ooh, I wouldn't want to be that. The Grim Reaper. Who's next? Mark. Hey, Hensy, who's next? Who do you think is going to get fired next?
No. My apologies. I'll edit that. I'll edit that out of the podcast. Don't worry.
There's no editing on this podcast. It's beyond editing now. Canada and Panama.
Yes.
Same night as the Leafs opener against Montreal. Which one did you watch?
I'll be very honest with you, and I'm shocked at this to this day, but I totally watched Canada versus Panama. And when I did tune into Leafs and Habs, I found it boring by comparison. And I just went and watched Canada and Panama. And I had to steal the stream. I didn't actually get it over the air through my digital services. I had to steal a stream for Canada versus Panama. And I still did that, even though the Leafs and Habs were through my Bell Fibe. But yeah, I watched soccer.
What do you think of the way they do the play-by-play, the enthusiasm, the energy on that compared to other sports broadcasts that we've been watching?
It was exciting, just a full BMO full of Canada fans and the nature of that game and how it exploded in the second half. And I enjoyed it so much that I didn't watch the Leafs opener, which I think...
You missed the point. Yeah. The broadcast.
Okay, well, let's hear your thoughts on it. Again,
I'm asking you. What did you think of the broadcast?
I enjoyed the broadcast.
Did you think that they were a little over the top as Canadians, or should that be the way it is? That when it's Canada, that the announcers should be over the top the way most other countries are.
I never have any problems when the team I'm rooting for, when there's enthusiasm for the team I'm rooting for. No, I didn't have a problem with that at all. Did you?
All right. Well, I just only because I'm not used to it. I'm not. It's sort of like, forget about being objective. Just root for Canada. Like, just go over the top about Canada. You know what I mean? I'd like to see a little more balance. I get the excitement of it. I get it.
But Hebsy, man.
I guess we've got to be cheerleaders when we're rooting for our country.
But didn't you watch the Olympics? Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry for talking over you there. But when we watch the Olympics, right? It's all about Penny Oleksiak down the final lap or whatever. We kind of expect it. I expect it, and we enjoy it.
No, there's some objectivity there, right? It's not full out 100% Canada can do no wrong, and every time there's a problem, it's a major issue. That's all I'm saying is that I listen, and I like Gareth Wheeler, and I like oh man, I can never remember his name. I can see him now. Oh, it's going to drive me crazy. Why can I never remember this guy's name? He's Terry Dunfield. Whew. And there, it's almost like look, you guys, because the station they're working for is a Canadian soccer station. It just so happened that the game was on Sportsnet or Sportsnet 1 or something like that. Anyway, right. And so I found it to be really over the top, like really, really over the top.
Okay, but Hebsy, it's sports. It's not news, right? You don't need objectivity in your coverage of the game, right? That's more for analysis.
You don't. You just present it and...
I gave a whole monologue earlier about how I'm there for the game. Like, I don't care who's calling it particularly. I don't really care who the color analyst is or whatever. I'm there for the game. I was there to watch the soccer match.
I got you, okay? You're just completely going totally against me, okay? I'm like fighting with a fucking dog with a bone. So forget this, okay?
Well, I didn't know we were fighting.
We're done. We're done with the discussion.
All right.
You won't answer my questions, okay? And then you're taking what I'm saying, well, I don't watch for the announcers. Bullshit. We're just talking about announcers. Okay? And I'm telling you that I thought these two guys were just over the top during the broadcast. That's all. Tone it down. Just dial it back a little.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
We all want Canada to win. You guys are Canadians. Okay, this program is going to be fabulous. We're going to go to the World Cup. We hope, but just dial it back a little. That's all.
And that's a very good point you're making, and we love your opinions on this show.
It's very different from the crowds at the Scotiabank Arena or the Ottawa Arena and how quiet they are and how they sit on their hands. I get that. Okay?
KM.
Just a little bit of, believe me,
yeah.
I was cheering along, okay? But as a broadcaster, a former broadcaster, a podcaster, a former sportscaster, a former play-by-play guy, I wanted the Leafs to win when I was doing Leafs games. Right. I wanted them to win. Joe Bowen wants them to win.
Yes.
I get that.
Right.
But still.
Remember, 1986 was, for some of us, I don't think I tuned into any part, even though I was 12 years old. I don't remember any of the 1986 World Cup. So for many, many, many people on your YouTube channel and listening to you right now, there's no memory of Canada playing a World Cup match. And I think for this moment and we're on the brink here, that I feel like a little over-the-top enthusiasm is just what the doctor ordered.
If you say so. Okay. The fallout in football, the fallout from the John Gruden firing, which we never discussed because it happened like a day after we last recorded. Hundreds of thousands of emails have been poured over, investigated. And the relationship between John Gruden and Bruce Allen, the former president of the Washington Football Club and the son of the great George Allen, who maybe wasn't so great, this relationship was way too buddy-buddy. Some of the emails they exchanged were just prime examples of the culture of the National Football League and the way they think about women and persons of colors and persons with disabilities is disgusting. And now the New York Times has discovered a very cushy relationship between Allen and NFL General Counsel Jeff Pash. Now, Jeff Pash used to be Gary Bettman's right-hand man at the NHL in the early days of Bettman's reign. Okay? So in this case, Pash protected his friend Allen and allowed this culture of exclusion and racism and misogyny to continue in the NFL, to the point where Pash actually helped the Washington team avoid big fines by rescinding them at the last minute. This is just the tip of the iceberg for what this guy did. Okay? He was the guy who was supposedly investigating the Washington Football Club. This is his best buddy, who's the president. How do you think that turned out? Crazy.
You know what's crazy? that we did the Canada-Panama. We never mentioned that goal. Like, can we just spend one moment? Because I don't watch as much soccer as you do, but is that the biggest goal in Canadian international soccer history? That was an amazing goal.
It was a great goal. Okay, I think we've all pointed out it was a great goal.
No,
but it was a terrible play by the Panamanian. Okay, who thought it was out of touch and it allowed Fonzie to run 80 yards. But yeah, it was a great goal. It was great, and he's a great player, and we know that.
I wanted it on the record here to make it official.
To make what official?
That he's a prodigy and a wonderful player.
Mike, I mentioned that over a year ago. What are you talking about? Wait, 2 years ago.
I just thought if we're going to talk Canada-Panama, maybe we mention that goal.
Mike, the goal he scored last year for Bayern Munich was even more, or 2 years ago, was even more spectacular. He ran the length of the field and outran like 8 guys. That was a great goal. At the time, it was a huge goal. Okay? It is. But I would think that by the time this World Cup qualifying ends, he will score more goals and maybe even more fabulous goals than that one. But up to this point, yes, it is. We are not in the World Cup. We're not even close to being in the World Cup. Look at the schedule. We got a lot of games. We got to play in Honduras. We got to play in Panama. We got to play in El Salvador. These are not easy places to play. You think the crowd was hostile at BMO the other night? That's not hostile. Not at all. Let me tell you something right now. You're going to play World Cup qualifying in those countries down there? Get ready for some serious violence. Okay? Get ready. It's going to happen. No walk in the park. Oh, we'll finish top 3. And even if we get 4th, maybe we get in the back door. Not so easy. Not so easy. The 4-1 Buffalo Bills are the NFL's #1 team, according to the power rankings released this week. The Bills play at Tennessee Monday night, favored by 5.5. Boy, they look good, don't they? Boy, that game the other night, I picked it, by the way. I picked the Bills to beat the Chiefs with 3 points and also to win the game outright, but I didn't think they would clobber them like that. Meanwhile, the unbeaten Arizona Cardinals are ranked 2nd, but they've got some COVID issues prior to Sunday's game in Cleveland. You see, there have been 3 positive COVID tests reported with the Cardinals this week, leading to increased testing for several players and team personnel. The team is not yet required to move to intensive protocols, but one more positive test would put them there. By the way, no word as to how many Cardinals players are fully vaxxed. I'm going to say lots of them aren't. Last night, Tom Brady and the Bucs moved to 5-1 with a 28-22 win over the Eagles. The Bucs were favored by 7 points in this game, and most expected them to beat the spread as they had a 6-point lead with the ball deep in Eagles territory late in the game, but they chose not to score again. And the Eagles beat the spread without winning the game. And as Joe Buck said on the telecast, and I quote, "And the Buccaneers win by 6. He knew what the line was. He knew exactly what the line was. And he probably bet the Bucs to win, but he had to give 7. And if you were an Eagles fan, you must have just been thrilled. Phew, because it looked like they were going to lose the bet. All right, I'm playing crosswinds again a couple more times before they close. They may not close for a while, but anyway, it's just so beautiful at this time of the year. I just can't tell you. They've gotten a lot of rain, too, and the course is held up. I suggest you check it out. Go online, book your tee time online, crosswindsgolf.com. Those spots go fast, and the reason is because it's in great shape. Some of these golf courses, I've been seeing some stuff online. Whoa! Even though they're charging discounted rates at this time of the year, in terrible condition. Horrible. I saw one, I won't mention the golf course, where the guy had like a 3-foot putt. He just missed it, and it rolled 50 feet off the green. The public golf course. The pros would have walked off that. Doesn't happen at Crosswinds. What you see is what you get. It's beautiful. The people are great. The golf is spectacular. Customer service is second to none. And by the way things are opening up, 2022, 2023 banquets, weddings, golf tournaments, you might want to schedule it at Crosswinds. It's so nice. Give them a call and go online, crosswindsgolf.com. In regular golf, the CJ Cup is the PGA Tour stop at Summit in Las Vegas. Robert Streb is ranked 141st in the world. He shot an 11 under par 61 yesterday. Listen to this. He birdied the first and birdied the second and eagled the third. He birdied the fourth, birdied the fifth, birdied the sixth for a 29 on the front 9. And on the back, he bogeyed 11 and then came back and birdied 12, 13, 14, 16, and 18 for a 32 and an 11 under 61. Not bad. Not bad. Just a day in the park. Mackenzie Hughes, the only Canadian in the field, shot a 1 under 71. No LPGA tourney this week. Next week, it's the BMW Championship, so we'll check in with Brooke Henderson then, because she's the only Canadian female that we really care about that I think is even out there. The Toronto Raptors tip off their new season Wednesday night. Not a lot heard about the Raptors. Pretty quiet stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they get the Washington Wizards next Wednesday at the SBA. Yes, Mike?
No, I was just agreeing with you that it's been a little quiet on the Raptors front.
It has been. We haven't been talking a lot about them. They've been, we didn't see them last year or the year before that. When was the last time we saw this team? Championship parade? Honestly, God, I can't remember. Anyway, no Kyle Lowry in the backcourt. We know that. But I'm optimistic that this young team will make the playoffs in the East. I'm going to say they'll finish 6th in the East. I like Siakam. I like OG. I like FVV. I like Scotty Barnes. I like Precious Achiuwa. I like Gary Trent Jr., Goran Dragic, Watanabe, Delano Banton, the kid from Etobicoke. We got some players, okay? Malachi Flynn. Good-looking young squad. I like Nick Nurse as a coach, too. I think they'll be okay this year. Anything else?
Yeah, your homework is to rectify the microphone issue for next Friday so we can deliver the pristine audio we're known for here on Hebsy on Sports.
Is it a microphone issue or was it a headphone issue with my...
Well, there were two issues since we're doing the notes here. The two issues. One is that after your reboot of the laptop, which is always the first thing you do in those situations, you were unable to get your microphone to work with Zoom. Otherwise, we would have done it there because then at least we're hearing your good mic. So that's why we left your laptop. So the issue that caused the reboot in the first place is that your headphones weren't working when you plugged it in. So we got to make sure that laptop is in working order for next Friday's Hebsy on Sports.
Right. Okay. That's it for episode 254, which will live in infamy as the episode with the poor audio quality, but the great content. Great content. Poor. Would you rather have great audio quality and shitty content?
You know what I would rather? I'd rather you had any headset, and I thought you owned AirPods. Did I dream that I saw you with AirPods in your ear once?
I'm right here.
So, but those would have said that the mic on those would have sounded way better than this whatever you're wearing right now, which sounds like you're calling in from Mars.
All right, that's it for this edition from Mars. Thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike. Thanks to our longtime sponsor, Crosswinds Golf and Country Club in Burlington. Can you hear me now? Great golf, great views, great customer service. Book your tee time online today by going to crosswindsgolf.com. Don't forget to tell them Hebsy sent you. And a reminder that my 4-part story on the greatest Jewish athlete of all time is available online at the CJN.ca.
Are we That's Gentiles allowed to view? Are we allowed to?
Jews only. Restricted, okay? No Gentiles allowed. Of course you can. We are the most inclusive people in the world because we were excluded from everything. Right. How can we possibly open anything up that's exclusive to Jews? Honest to God. That's against our principles. We were persecuted for years, hundreds and thousands of years. We weren't allowed in. Naturally, we're the most welcome. So if you want to read about the greatest Jewish athlete of all time, and you're not Jewish, come on. What could hurt? Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Back with another episode of Hebsy on Sports next week. Until then, so long for now.
This podcast has been produced by TMDS and accelerated by Roam Phone. Roam Phone brings you the most reliable virtual phone service to run your business and protect your home number from unwanted calls. Visit roamphone.ca to get started.